yeah, definitely doing this to times if I can get it done by 4 o'clock, probably a bit later, but so I got my bucket there as well then, and I got my tin foil, that's the aluminium foil. Don't know if I want to do something with those, maybe put some down the bottom. I don't really want to really retain anything, but it might help with the reductive flammable gas environment, so we might want to, you know, cut this up sort of thing. Yeah, sometimes it gets a bit difficult, fellas, so we do that, and maybe put some down the side or something. Down the side, sort of down the side there. Yeah. And that will help with getting rid of any smelly rotten egg gas, but also doesn't interfere with the sponge on the slot, as you can probably see there. Are we still in spot colour? I don't know. Maybe not now. We've gone into. Well, we're still on spot colour. Maybe we need to go just to general at the moment. Okay, general. Now for this one. Now the same thing here, but we're going to split it up and we're going to try and do it all the way around. So it's probably going to get quite thin, but it should be enough for. So the idea is to, you know, split it as best you can down the middle and keep doing that until you've got enough sheets without tearing it too much. And it gets a bit more difficult as it gets thinner, of course. So yeah. So, you know, be careful and go on and so forth like this sort of thing. But yeah, I don't want to spend 7 minutes doing this. But maybe when I'm doing this I should talk about what happened with the road rage incident down at Bunnings down there at Marion. So I'm pulling up, I have my no, I didn't actually have my thing, I had it after the. Now I pull in, and just as I pull into the car park, there's some lady that's stopped and she tries to back in, but it's very close. But she sort of like insists on backing in, not even winding down the window or anything like that, which I thought fair enough. And almost, you know, whether I should move my car back a bit or not. But you know, anyway, move that out of the way. I've done that, by the way, and it's quite easy really. So I think you will need the sponge because it's already going down, as you can probably see. So let's see if we're in shot for this. Yeah, sort of. So anyway, so there's this bloke sitting on the left on the passenger side. Anyway, so she goes in and I go to do this sort of clapping thing, proper clapping thing, but I decided to do it with my gloves on the side there, just to do a little clap like that. Thought nothing of it at the time. Anyway, move up the car park and there's this woman on the left hand side pulls out, and just as so I'm waiting there for her to go past me because I think, oh, well, I'll take her thing. And then this other woman with some plants on the front seat on the right hand side, really insistent pulling out, so it's getting in the way of this other woman trying to get around me. So I'm just slowly creeping backwards to try and give more and more room, and then this bloke pops his head through the left hand window, and of course the first thing I see this bloke, I see these sort of these manly Sydney tats or Sydney manly tats on his left arm, sort of like New Zealander style. So you know, there's sort of like a New Zealand influence on the manly Sydney sort of scene sort of thing there. I don't know whether he was trying to imply that he was like ex-army, navy or whatever, but he definitely wasn't, because as I said, you know, he started going on about, people talk about rude. Rude's the most pejorative word in the English language. I don't think it actually is a word anymore. You can use rude for anything really, and I wasn't being rude, because as I said, I did it that way. I didn't make a big fuss about it. I just did it like that. Well done, you actually made it. I didn't think you're going to make it, sort of thing. So the first thing I said, I've never heard my grandfather's voice, and he did this sort of like double take thing. Thought it was a hard, a hard sob story sort of thing. And I thought, no, it's a warning, mate. You don't get it, do you? These two school bullies have infused a rage into me that will take you out in seconds, and I don't even give a stuff. You know what I mean? Their rage will protect me, and I've never heard my grandfather's voice, but you've had the luck of seeing your wife and your kids up to now. Get it, sunshine? I don't even know. Anyway, anyone who actually has been, like David Aldridge, been in the Air Force, the Army and Navy, there was someone online on Facebook, and as soon as I said that, he backed off. And I thought, yeah, that's the right response. You get it. You understand it. Whether I should be actually approaching Legacy and saying, is there anything you can do for me? And I say, what's your story? And I say, well, my father's had polio. Oh well, you you don't need any help with human then, do you, Sunshine? No. Anyway, so we keep going with this, and anyway, so he went on a bit, and I gave him basically a very short down, thumbnail cut down size version of my, my life sort of thing about the 2 school bullies over in WA, blah blah blah. I think I was really giving him as a warning, because I thought, if I'm going to meet this bloke further on in the thing, so I went in the far end of the car park and had a Coke and some of my things, sort of thinking I'd calm myself down and sort of thing, because sort of thing. I didn't know he had affected me that much actually, because when I went back inside the thing, I went and looked at these plants, did the usual automatic pilot stuff you do with this stuff. I was obviously running on automatic pilot, because half of my brain when he was doing this sort of thing, there was like the logical side and the emotional side. It's almost like I could separate the two. The logical side was saying, you're trying to act so manly and tough to your girlfriend, yet you turned up in the passenger seat. And was this all like, is this a one day of the month you let her out of the house sort of thing? You always find me in the kitchen at parties because I just want to make sure she's still down there in the dungeon sort of thing. Is that what it is? This is a one chance to go down to the shops in a month to get her things, or you're too afraid, all those Sydney manly tats on you. It's really, I'm trying to show how manly I am, but at the same time that means I can't trust my girlfriend. She could be out, she's so pretty, she's out banging every bloke in there, so I've always got to accompany her in the car down to the shops and all that. I don't know if it's something like that. That's pure speculation on my part, but the way you acted, you walked all the way up the car park to actually do that. And of course, you forget, Sunshine, the woman inside wanted to keep him back because I think they've got that on CCTV. And I mentioned, you were the second slot in, and of course your girlfriend or wife or whatever backed in, so they can easily find out. They can zoom in on the license plate number, and you've got the tats on your arm. Are you scrubbing those off with some steel wool tonight, Sunshine? Yes, that would be very interesting if you are. Because all the police do is turn up at that address, and if there's a bloke there with your sort of attitude and some Sydney manly tats on his arm, I think you're gone, actually. Yeah. You know why? Because this woman said she'd been through, this teller, been through a rough patch. Whether she'd been road raged in the car park at a place of work, I don't know. But she actually offered me $4 or something to get a coffee, and I was just shrugging this off, thinking, I don't want to think. And then my top right-hand lip started quivering. I could actually feel it doing something, and I sort of did my finger, which you probably see on the CT footage in the store, pointing at my lip, because I could say, yeah, something. And so I took the money because I thought, well, you've got a point. There is, you obviously can see something, and I can feel there's something strange because it's only on the right-hand side of my top lip. And what's that thing they talk about? One of the emotions is apathetic disdain. It's the only emotion that is at the bottom lip or something curls in or something. It's the only emotion that is not bisymmetrical, I think it is. Apathetic disdain. In other words, it's like, is it disbelief and pity at the same time? So if it comes to something like fly traps, you can't get apathetic disdain for many people selling these fly traps, because if they're conning you and they're doing something on purpose, they can't actually display apathetic disdain because they don't have the pity. Do you get it? You can't have the pity if you know you're doing something to the plants and people can't grow them because you're sending them out of the back end of the greenhouse with something up to them. That's the... So in other words, my friend like Keith Bogus, who's... I was doing all like, this is years ago, back in the 90s, a device to cut up polyurethane foam to cut it into nice little, 3mm cubes. He was looking at that, but he couldn't show apathetic disdain because he was dying of cancer. He can't take pity on someone when you're in a worse situation. That's another way you can't show apathetic disdain sort of thing. I'm sure he must have had that because, he's a fitter and turner, gone through the war, done all those nose cones and stuff under forced labour for the V1s and V2s and things like that. Aluminium, and glass, and scraping glass with razor blades or something, So so all those fine particles. So he dies of mesothelioma. So there you go, Sunshine. As I said, I always find in my life there's good Dutch and bad Dutch. Keith Bogus was good Dutch. You know what I mean? even though he must have been laughing at the things I was trying to do back then, but you know, he was dying of cancer, so there was no way he could show apathetic disdain, because you know, there's no way that lip, I think it's the bottom lip or something, is it on the left-hand side, or it depends on whether you're right or left-handed, I don't know. But anyway, long story short, I went and sat down. I thought, I better take this woman's advice, you know, because I can actually feel there's something wrong there. This bloke had actually obviously affected me. Maybe he'd come across to me unconsciously as, you know, like my 2 school bullies or something. Maybe that's what it was, you know. You know, AD and GW sort of thing, you know. So I always mention by initials, so people over in WA know, yep, they're definitely our 2 school bullies, he's telling the truth, George Washington Bertie and everything. But, you know, you can't sue me for something that you actually did, you know. And I haven't actually mentioned you by personally name, but, you know, I believe one of them became a painter, which was a bit of a worry, you know, going into people's houses. I mean, if you've been a bully, going into people's houses, you know, on a regular basis, it is a bit worrying from our end of the family point of view anyway. So, anyway, let's see how we go with this. I think we may be able to do this, and then maybe put another one. Yeah, maybe we actually need to actually put one under the at the back end of. I think that's going to be good enough, fellas. What do you think? And my idea that if you cut them, they will shrink down just enough to fill the lip seems to be on the money too. So there we go, fellas. So in the next stage, we'll start a new clip, I think. Okay, this is probably way too long. Yeah.